Hello and welcome to the Watchin It podcast. On today's show, Robert never stopped watching anime. Donnell says, yeah, they probably could have used a little more ink. And on Silo, so Julie's just a superhuman? She's just Superman. That's what you want me to believe. All that, a little bit of news. I'm your host, Donnell, and with me as always is Robert. How you doing today, man?
They build them different in mechanical.
Apparently they do, because one hell of an episode of Silo.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So much.
There's a lot. Too many skips.
Yep.
Too many scene changes.
Couple different storylines to follow. Unlike previous episodes, there's like 5 going on here.
Yeah. So this is season 2, episode 7, The Dive.
The Dive.
And let's talk about the Silo 17 storyline.
Which for this episode being called The Dive, and while that is a major point, it's like, I think airtime wise, it probably wasn't the most we saw.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
This is a big part in the books.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that this is what I was talking about a couple episodes ago, when she went underwater the first time.
Yeah.
But no, this is like real, like, oh my God, what's gonna happen kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
So Solo is like, no, you got to fix the water pump, the air pump, or whatever, so that way the place stops flooding. They put together.
Now, is it just stopping the flooding, or is it supposed to like?
It's going to reverse it.
I'm like, how long is that going to take? Like,
who knows?
With that pump, I'm just like, that's going to take. Yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
So yeah, they're not going to use the. Now I can't remember what the instrument was called, but harmonogram or whatever instrument, the little foot pump this time.
Yeah.
Julie's like, nah, I need some actual powered air. So that they come with the idea of a power washer for air. Which I mean, I guess the motor, I just feel like that would be like too much push. Yeah, like, I don't know. I just feel like power washer. I mean, I guess it's when you have it on, or not just on.
Well, the nozzle is what makes it like pressurized.
True.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess if you don't have the nozzle, it's just normal air. So yeah, I guess that
I mean,
air
inside of a diver's tank is pressurized pretty high.
Yeah. Here's my thing though with all of this. Jumping a little ahead. I'm like, did they don't show us this, and maybe they don't need to show us this, but I'm like, this is quite the dive. Like, this is not just like last time was like down a floor, little room, and we're up. This is down deep.
Yeah,
and
so she has to go 8 levels.
Yeah.
How tall would you say a level is? 30 feet?
Yeah, maybe about 30 feet.
So they talk about the bends.
Yep.
And from my reading, 30 feet is when the bends kick in.
Right.
Yeah, once you've gone about 30 feet, that's when you got to start worrying about it.
Yeah.
And then, but like coming up, if it's like 60 feet a second, or sorry, a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so she probably took a couple of minutes, like 3 or 4 minutes to come up.
Yeah. I don't know though. I mean, but that's the thing is, she couldn't. I think
the bends were really a non-issue with this dive.
Well, I think it would be a non-issue with a proper dive, with her going down and coming up with air. But that's the thing we have to remember. She was rushing, which is like let's hold off before we get there because I got a lot to say about that scene. But let's talk about it a little bit. So they're getting ready. Interesting thing is Solo trying to give her a breakdown on essentially everything to do with diving and swimming and fish. I'm like, he had to explain what fish were to her.
Yeah.
He had to. He's explaining like, how to breathe underwater, how to use a mask, how people would swim. And I'm like, yeah, this is a lot of information to download right before you go and do what professional divers take years before they do. Like, she has never been, other than, I mean, yes, she's been in water a couple times now, but still, overall, it's like professional divers do a lot of work before they go on a deep dive like this. And he's just trying to download it all. But hooks her up with some weighted boots and some goggles, and they lower her off the bridge with a winch. I think why it was off the bridge is maybe that's where the winch was.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Get it down to the stairs. But she gets down there, and is able to like turn on the pump. You were talking about like nothing's corroded down here.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, that's something. And also the fact that everything just comes right on. I'm like, What
Yeah,
like
electrical
lucky.
systems underwater.
I'm like,
not great.
Lucky everything just magically worked. How long has it been?
I
underwater?
guess it isn't a water pump.
Yeah,
I guess it is designed to work underwater.
but even still, it's been how many years?
Yeah,
of just not being used and just sitting in
at
water.
least 50.
Yeah, at least 50. Just sitting in water. Like, yeah, I'm just like it. Just comes right on, huh? But yeah, gets the power on.
I mean, look, this is a world where an iPad lasts for 350 years.
True.
And remains working. Okay.
One hell of a battery in that iPad, man. One hell of a battery. Guess Steve Jobs knew what he was
getting
doing.
radiation poisoning from that iPad.
But yeah, so she leaves, rings the bell, and that's when so at first I was like, oh, C dropped the rope, or maybe Solo dropped the rope.
No, you could clearly see that it was cut.
Yeah,
but at first I'm like,
it.
if you haven't read the books or anything, you're just like, oh, Solo for some reason cut her off.
Yeah,
cut
well,
her
that's
air,
the thing
cut
is,
her rope.
well, that's what I was gonna say. When it was first just the rope, I was like, okay, maybe a mistake was made. I was like, maybe Solo messed up, maybe C messed up. But then when the air gets cut off, I'm like, oh no, he's trying to kill her. Like the air is a different story. I think this is where the scene is, because you're saying like maybe she took enough minutes, but then if that's the case, if she took enough minutes for the binge not to affect her, then she would have drowned. Like that's the problem.
Yeah.
Either the binge affects her because she went up too fast, or she went up slow enough, but then she drowned. Because like she's going up and doesn't have air the whole way, and I'm just like,
physically exerting herself.
yeah. There are professional.
Oh, absolutely.
Who are insane. Also, I will just say that. But there are free. I think what are they
Free
called? Like
divers.
free divers who go down, no tank, no nothing, and like hang out, and they just train themselves to be able to hold their breath that long. But once again, that takes years of practice.
So I'd like to mention something about free divers is they don't have to worry about the bends because they don't stay down long enough.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Because the bends is nitrogen gets compressed and gets into your blood vessels, and then it expands too quickly when you move up, and that's what messes you up.
Yeah. See, at first she's pulling herself up the hose. I don't get why she stopped pulling herself up the hose, because I feel like honestly that would be faster than swimming. You could get a lot more momentum by pulling on the hose than you could with swimming, especially as someone who's never swam before.
Yeah.
That's the other part of this scene. Like, this scene is just absurd. I love this show, but this one scene is like, no, completely absurd.
Well, I mean,
someone
it
who's
depends.
never swam, who's never free dived, surviving this is insanity.
Yeah. Well, there is a depth at which if you swim down, once you and it can be as small as like 12 feet, but it's usually I think like 30 feet, where once you get to that point, your body stops being buoyant, and you just start to sink.
Right.
And so there could be, I mean, she'd have to use the hose to pull herself up or something at the beginning, but she might have gotten to the point where buoyancy was assisting.
Yeah.
And swimming might be faster.
Still, but once again, swimming's faster.
Either way,
if you know how to swim.
Somebody untrained, let's say 300 feet down, trying to exert themselves up 300 feet, in water
with no
air, not happening.
Yeah, this scene was ludicrous.
No, I think in the book, it stopped working when she was closer to the surface.
Yeah. I could believe that.
But it was a very intense scene in the book. And very intense scene in the show.
Very intense scene in the show, but a little bit intensity taken away, because it's all just in the back of my head. My brain is screaming like, no, she's just dead. So this is not intense because in real life, she's just dead.
But she gets up
to
the top, out of the water, and your floaty was there, Donnell.
I was like, return to the jug. I mean, it's like, it's twofold, because
she should have taken the jug with her.
I was harping on her all the time for not keeping that jug with her. But I guess if she hadn't thrown the jug away, it wouldn't have been there for her to grab onto when she came up. But she didn't know that, okay? That wasn't a planned thought. She never thought she was going down there again. I'm like, keep the jug. But whatever. The jug returns. It saves her life for the third time, I think, at this point. Like, that jug's putting in work. You know, like, our main character, our heroine, would not exist if not for this jug.
Yeah. Enter the meme.
Mad props with the jug.
But anyway, she gets up, and then she sees a bunch of blood everywhere and an axe.
An axe. And
I don't know why you dropped the axe.
Well, yeah, true.
Why don't you keep
there's
the axe?
An axe, and then was that an arrow?
I think it looked like an arrow, but I don't know if it was an arrow or not.
Because I'm wondering, is there? Because that thing is like so. Because I said, I'm wondering why would Solo? I mean, he is a little shady, but I'm like, especially when he's like, "Are you still mad at me?" and seeing stuff. I feel like he's not.
And he just got the power to the pump on,
which could be like he got what he wanted, so now he doesn't need her. And he did give her. He has given her a lot of knowledge that people who aren't head of IT shouldn't know. So I kind of can see from that aspect of him, but still overall I just don't see it. So I'm just wondering, like, one is they've done this before and they kind of stopped for a while, but then they brought it back this episode of doing camera angles that makes you feel like it's somebody watching her. So I'm like, is there somebody else in this silo?
I don't know, Donnell.
Is there somebody else in this silo? That's what I want to know.
Did somebody attack Solo and cut the water, cut the air?
Who is it? Who's in the silo with Solo and Julie? But of course, we're not going to get to find that out until maybe not even next episode. I mean, we're on episode 7.
We got 3 episodes left.
We got 3 episodes.
Yep.
I mean, that's why there was a lot in this episode because they, oof.
But anyways, there's going to be a lot in the next couple episodes as well.
That's pretty much it. That's all we got from this episode. She still doesn't have her chute. We don't know what happened to Solo. We don't know if he's the reason she almost drowned or if somebody attacked him. There's a lot going on in that silo, but let's get back to the main silo.
Let's talk about Lucas.
Yeah.
So there's like kind of a side story. Well, it's not part of the main story, but Lucas is he's been made the shadow of IT, the head of IT.
Yep.
He has been let into the back of the vault, into the secret room with the big screen.
Yeah.
And we see a further secret room.
Yes.
With a bunch of relics and
we get
stuff.
a little bit of explaining. I mean, still not fully how Solo has survived all this time, but one thing that Bernard does point out is like that's the living quarters over there. The food's pretty good. He says he's speaking like at first I'm like, what does he mean? But I guess he's speaking from experience. At one point he was led into this room and told that he's going to be living here. I was a little disappointed. I was really hoping like he was going to lock the door and be like, I'll come check on you. Not that
kind of happens in the book.
Yeah, not that he could just freely come and go. I was like, when Lucas a little bit later pops out to talk to him, I'm like, what the heck? No,
he in the books he gets locked in there.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is he leads Lucas in, shows him the archive or the physical archive, and then explains that there's so much more and pulls on an iPad. I mean, it looks like an iPad. I mean, like you can use this. And I mean, I'm assuming, we have a pressing concern. And so that's why we're rushed to this. But like, I was just a little disappointed that we didn't get to see Lucas have his mind blown by just finding out stuff.
He took this way
like he just jumps to ciphers right off the bat. Like, let's figure out this code. And I'm like, I really wanted him to be like, wait, we built spaceships, or wait, like I don't know, just anything about the outside world he's never known.
No, he just walks into the room with all the art and just collapses is what would happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I love when he pulls up the iPad and he's like, show me everything about
number ciphers.
And I'm like, you're going to be there for a decade,
I was like, cool, that's it. Well, I mean, so that's the thing.
Cryptography, come on.
So yeah, he gets the number ciphers, and then a little bit later, and I was like, coming from a coding background, IT background, not that and stuff, not that I've made a cipher, but still, just knowing that sort of thing, I'm less like, nah, bro, nah. I don't care how good of a code cracker you are. If you are being introduced to brand new ciphers you have never used before, it's going to take you more than a day before you walk into Bernard's. I was like, I figured it out. It's page 77. I'm like, boo, BS. Yeah. BS.
Oh, and he just happens to have the book. See, when they were talking, so this is not in the this whole Salvador Quinn code thing, not in the books.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where they're going with this and what the
one thing
letter
Bernard
is going to say.
Brings up about it is he's like, it's a message about something that's worse than the rebellion, which is interesting.
I don't really know what they're gonna do with the Salvador Quinn thing. But yeah, it's just crazy. I thought that it was gonna be the book, the like picture book
that they burnt,
not the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I should have looked up what's on page 77 of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, there we go. At first, I thought it was gonna be the Order or something when it was like a book that's not in the vault. But
the word in the book is going to give him the key to decode the
I
rest
do
of the
find it a little much that he also. I mean, I guess he has the iPad and maybe it did all the work for him. But where he's like, I checked all the books in the archive. Like, you checked all the books in the archive? You checked it against every single book in art.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I guess that's one hell of an iPad you got there, man. I mean, like I said, I know it's not an iPad. I know it's a, probably a supercomputer, honestly, if it's doing all this stuff for them. But still, I'm just like, in the afternoon, you checked all the
I'm
books in
assuming that
archive.
his magic tablet
can
do it.
I
And
know.
we can clearly see now that this is like future tech.
Yeah.
This is beyond what we
this
have.
This is some insane technology here.
Yeah. I wonder... Man, oh, you know what? I can't talk about that. No. I had a good question about some of the art on the wall and why they had some of the art on the wall, but I can't.
It would
break.
It's book lore that
book lore. Exactly.
Yeah.
Legacy lore.
Yep.
Donnell, you're not ready for the legacy.
Anyways, we get the last thing with him and Lucas is he's like, I got the book right here, and it's the Judge Meadows' copy of The Wizard of Oz. So whatever breaks this cipher is going to be in there, but once again, that's where that storyline ends. So we'll see more of that.
We get some interesting things with Simon Bernard.
Yeah,
having a little back and forth
power plays going on
over a warrant that he wants, and Sim's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you're losing your power. You
I
don't
mean,
have the allies you need.
We've
you're
talked
not in
about
control
this
of the game."
already. We've talked about this already, but like in the Sims Bernard Camille dynamic, like.
Yeah.
Camille is playing like, and not just. I mean, we find out also like she's thinking like big picture, like also working. That's why she helped the rebels is to have maybe an in with them if needed. Like she's outplaying everybody.
Yeah,
she is playing 4D chess while everybody else doesn't even know the game's being played. That like even her own husband, because Bernard does, that him and Sims, I do how fiercely they attacked each other. Like when Bernard comes in there and it's like you sit here, you sign papers, I never see you again. I'm like,
yeah,
damn, like he has ended his relationship with Sims.
Yeah, it's so odd that like IT is the real power.
Yeah. Oh.
Like the mayor isn't the power.
No.
The sheriffs aren't the power. Judicial isn't the power. Everybody takes orders from IT.
Head of IT. Like I said, that's how you know a nerd wrote this book series, because there's no world where that's true. But anyways, so yeah, they come to terms come to a head, and Bernard spills the beans that Camille let the rebels go. We also get to see a little bit earlier when Camille is talking to Sims and how she's just like, we've seen it before, but like she's just orchestrating everything. Like, she's telling him like, he's like, yeah, you gotta get. She doesn't want Bernard to be, or not Sims to be. One is he doesn't want Sims talking to Bernard because he doesn't want Bernard spilling the beans that she released the rebels. But also like she like lays out to Sims like, yeah, if you go to him, you're begging, but if he comes to you, then you're in power. And like, yeah, she's maneuvering.
Also, can somebody eat the dang pancake? That's a good looking pancake.
It was a good looking pancake.
That was a good looking pancake, and we're in war rationing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's not a lot of batter to go around.
Yeah. They just wasted that pancake.
It was upsetting to me.
I mean, maybe they had it off camera now. But anyways, what is it? So
also, how much he was washing dishes and using dish soap?
Mm-hmm.
How much dish soap do you think you need? Do you think they're making dish soap?
Yeah.
Or do you think they just have enough for the duration of the silo?
I think they're making dish soap. I think that's something that's it down in supplies. They whip up some dish soap, for people to use. Like,
interesting.
I mean, as actually, real quick, back to the Bernard and Lucas storyline. I didn't realize this when Bernard's like, yeah, everything here says that the silo's been here for 352 years.
Yeah,
and it's like I did just realizing that even Bernard doesn't know the purpose of the silos. I thought he knew and knew what was going on, but he's like, I don't know anything more. Like
that's odd to me. In the books, he knows. He knows the truth.
I mean, maybe he's just lying.
He maybe would just be not telling.
Yeah,
telling the truth,
not ready to let Lucas behind that veil. But anyways, we get Camille and Sims coming to head where Sims confronts her about her lying to him and makes her promise like, hey, we make moves together. And there's still a part of me is like, yeah, Sims.
She's gonna be making some moves.
Yeah, I'm like, you're. I mean. And you didn't, like I said, we didn't learn this until this season, but it makes last season when Julie was dealing with Camille, it's like, you have no idea the viper you are in the room with right now, Julie.
It's like that. Like, it's like
she wears the pants in that relationship. She's
the Benny Gesserit
of
the silo, man.
Yes,
it's like the Spacing Guild's talking to the Emperor. It's like, I see plans within plans within plans. Like,
yeah, she is just making some moods where I'm just like, yeah, I'm sorry, Sims. You may have thought like, yeah, I worked things out with Camille. I'm like, nah, I'm pretty sure she's still going to be doing stuff behind your back.
So let's get to like maybe the second main story, which is the down deep, kind of making some moves. And stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there's kind of like two things going on. There's a sheriff investigation,
which I do like this sheriff team we got going on with Billings, and I can't remember his name again, so I just put him down as long hair. But still, I just like them. These two cops,
the
like
triple D, the down deep deputy.
Mm-hmm. They're just like trooping around, pulling people in, questioning them, and I'm like,
I love the down deep deputy character.
Yeah.
Because he's just like. He's like, I got a job to do, and I'm the policeman. But also, I'm kind of like small town sheriff.
Yeah,
I know everybody.
I know the criminals.
I know when to turn a blind eye to some things. You know, like.
But yeah, so they're on the hunt to figure out who poisoned the food. And then also they find out that also there's a hit supposedly placed on Knox and Shirley.
From the Listener Network.
Yes, the listeners. Which, so they're interrogating a guy named Martin. And when they just introduce new characters. Because I'm like, who the hell? You can't just be like, they're like, what you know, Martin? I'm like, who the hell is Martin?
He's nobody. We'll
never
see him
exactly.
Again.
We find out that he's a listener. And basically they're rats of the down deep who work for judicial. It's like, you're not gonna have a lot of friends if you're one of them. I'm just like, Martin is probably never getting invited to the party anymore. Along with this other lady that we meet. But yeah, they find out nothing from Martin, but they start kind of kicking indoors and getting some information. That thing is, they don't actually crack the case. The case cracks itself after they go to Francine, trying to get some information from her, but she doesn't have any information. But Francine gets it in her head that she knows who poisoned the food, and she happens to be right.
Yeah.
And goes and start a rally to have this woman killed.
Yep. Always the lunch lady.
Can't trust the lunch lady. And so they take Knox and they go to intercede.
Lunch lady, no offense to lunch ladies. The idea, the opinions of Donnell does not represent the opinions of the Watchin It.
What do you mean? You're the one who said it first. You're said
fine
always
people
the lunch lady.
doing God's work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless you're still in like, what was that one who stole like, I think it was like $300,000.
You know what? Sidebar. Do you know what I learned recently? Do you know why we have breakfast in schools?
No.
The Black Panthers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
they started.
Yep.
There was like a report that came out back in the day that was like, hey, kids who...
do you remember from like 2 years ago, the Oscars, there was that one Black Panther movie.
There were a couple of movies about him, but I don't remember anything about the breakfast.
They had that in there.
Oh, I don't remember. I didn't pay that much of attention. But no, crazy stuff. Yeah, they saw a report that was like, hey, kids who eat breakfast in the morning do better in school. Yep. And then they started a
community breakfast.
Yeah, community breakfast program for school children. And then J. Edgar Hoover sent the FBI to destroy all the food and shut down the program. But the program was so good that people demanded that the U.S. government institute it.
Yep.
Crazy stuff.
That's a very weird moment of American history on the Watchin It podcast. If you would like more, no, I'm just kidding.
All right. Anyway, I like the way they treated the lunch lady, cafeteria worker, where they're just like, hey, we're not going to kill you, but we're going to give you all the crap jobs.
We're not
going to
see into the mines. I'm like, you can never trust this lady again. And like, she's no longer a lunch lady. I'm not letting her anywhere near the food. And we also find out that there was never an actual plan to kill Knox and Shirley. It was just kind of more to rile up stuff, make people suspicious of each other. I want to talk a little bit about, just because it's annoying, and this is a subplot that happened in this, but two things is, I'm not digging any of these relationships that we have been shown in the last two episodes.
Yeah,
like
we don't have time for Knox Shirley.
Yeah, I was gonna say them flirting while they're in the middle of a revolution. I'm like, no, like I'm glad you found each other. Sounds great. We're in the middle of a revolt right now. I don't need you guys giggling in the corners and batting your hands around. Like, cut that out. And Walk and Supply Lady. I did write down her name, but I don't know where.
She's just Supply Lady.
Exactly. She's a Supply. Not the Supply Lady. Like, we did find out that they were actually
not in the books. Walk and Supply. Walk isn't even a character in the books, I don't think.
I thought Walk would be it. I didn't think Supply.
Nor
but,
the supply lady.
I
for
didn't
that
think the
matter.
Supply Lady would be a character. But anyways, but yeah, they were married at one point, which was an interesting little tidbit. But the thing that's Nox is like, and I get it. So he cares about her. So he wants to know what's going on with her. But on the other side of the coin, I'm just like, who, as they point out, who would you get a message to go into the most secretive, most people don't even know about it. Who could you trust to get a message? And also, what message? What message could you send to your old lover that would be worth risking intelligence network, risking breaking the barricade where maybe people get in? I'm like, there's nothing, like, you couldn't do anything to say. You couldn't send a message. Like, the only thing you could do is like, I'm thinking about you, which I'm sure that would make her feel all warm inside. But is that worth the integrity of the down low and keeping them safe?
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the
few.
So
I'm very annoyed with
wartime setting.
Yeah. I'm very annoyed with Walk this whole episode, and then especially at the end of her storyline this episode, where she sets up her camera and then turns it off, and then we get a jump to Bernard figuring out that her and the Lux lady, or not the Lux lady, the Supply lady, were married, and they can use that as a weak. I'm just like, yeah, you just expose yourself. Walk just sewed a chink in the armor. And I'm just like, thank you, Walk. Thank you for your stupid plan that was never going, even if you could have gotten it accomplished somehow, it was never going to amount to anything more than making her feel a little bit better for 5 seconds. Yeah. That, oh, yay, Walk made it back. And now she's...
I don't understand
she's not
what
escaping.
Walk's endgame is.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what you're trying to do, but what you are doing is putting everybody else at risk. And we see that. I was so annoyed with Walk. So annoyed with Walk this episode.
And lastly, we'll end where it began, and that is the Down Deep starting to play dirty.
Yeah.
And it starts out with Nox getting a can of something. We find out that it's gunpowder. Yeah. And they use it to launch a rocket.
I was like, when they first showed the rocket, I was like, I didn't think it was actually a rocket, so I was like, oh, that looks like a rocket. But like, it's not. And then all of a sudden they light a fuse. I'm like, oh, they built a rocket. I was like, what are we doing? Find a rocket in the silo. We find out it's just something you actually brought up is like parachutes to get messages between the levels. And that's exactly what they do. They shoot this rocket up, and it doesn't explode. It just busts, or a parachute comes at the top, and as it's coming down, it just starts littering paper everywhere.
This is very sophisticated. This propaganda machine they've built.
Yep. Yeah, it's a propaganda.
By the way, those were like, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 little tiny notes, handwritten.
Yeah. I mean, so that's the thing is, at the beginning of this episode...
That's what the folders were.
Yeah, that's what the folders were, but that's where I mean, I guess maybe they were saying, like, this is as much paper as we can give up, because it was just weird. They made it seem like they were sacrificing, because at the beginning of the scene, like you said, Nox gets this gunpowder, and then we see Shirley, like, with a bunch of folders meeting people in the cafeteria, and they're handing over stuff. And one guy's like, hey, it's not much, but this is all I can give. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I didn't understand what it was
paper?
Either. Yeah, I thought they were folders as well, but it was really just stacks of any kind of something you could write on.
Yeah, which I guess maybe it is a resource that you could run out of, especially I guess that all probably comes from supplies.
You'd still need like a couple of dozen people in a couple of days to like write all those notes.
I mean, maybe that was what they were handing over, were notes written already. Like that was
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
But anyway, so they send out this rocket that sprinkled down a bunch of this paper, which is basically saying IT is lying to us. We want to know who really killed Judge Meadows. You know, planting that seed in everybody's mind. It wasn't them and stuff. And then they cut the power. And at first, I thought it was just like to show that they had that ability, which we already knew, but kind of like as a threat. But then we get that scene where the power gets cut out. And IT is still lit up.
Yep.
And I even love you hear the voices.
And the note specifically said IT has its own power.
Yeah. I do just love this hearing the people's voices where they're just like, hey, why's IT got power? Why is that on and all that stuff? Bernard does try to spin it. He says that, you know, they cut the power, but they left the power on in IT. You know, he also does some spin about Billings to kind of keep the sheriffs on his side, because he says that the Down Deep has him as hostage. And they forced him to say those things. So he's trying to keep the sheriffs on his side. We'll see how long that works, because even the sheriffs were like, why did you guys have power? And then I wanted to hit this as back when Sims and Bernard were having the little spat. I just really like when Bernard says, he's like talking about Sims and why he's so upset. It's like, you made me kill someone that I had some affection for, I'm like, that's the closest you could ever get to Bernard saying he was in love with someone. I had some affection for that person. I was like, damn. Such
Crazy
an interesting
episode.
character. Yeah,
Good episode. Lots happening.
So much happening. Like I said, trying to hit note. I'm just like, stop jumping to a new scene. I can't handle this. This is too much. But yeah, really a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, like I said, we got the cipher. We got what's going on in the other silo. Is there somebody else in there with and then I mean, what's gonna, even though I'm so annoyed, what's gonna come of Walk and her little temporary camera thing and weakness. I'm mad about that. I'm still mad at her about that.
We'll see. Maybe it'll turn into something really good, but I don't think so.
No, I think that's gonna be Bernard's, like, he's gonna use the supply lady to get to Walk somehow, and
I think it's gonna be Walk to get to the supply lady.
What do you mean?
I think he's somebody, now that he knows that Walk and Supply Lady, and that Supply Lady was like, I'm not telling you anything till I find out what happened to my friends. But now that he's gonna know that Walk means something to her, he's gonna use Walk to get her to start talking about all the stuff that she knows. I was thinking
the other way of, like, using, not, I'd hate to see it, but like using Walk as like an inside man, being like, I got Supply Lady, and she stays alive as long as you know.
I mean, that could happen.
Yeah,
that could happen.
Yeah. Stupid Walk.
Hey, if you like this show, you should check out our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
Well, it's right after the holidays, so you can, if you haven't yet, go check out our holiday episodes. A lot of fun, terrible movie, but still was fun to talk about. And then we got our best of coming up, and I'm almost done with my list. I think I'm ready to go.
Just waiting on you, Donnell. Waiting on you.
Yep. So we got our best of. We'll kind of do a review of what we've watched this year and what we really liked, what stuck out. I mean, if you've listened to the podcast this year, you probably already know one of the things that's on my list. 'Cause, oh man, it is good. But just we got that coming up, and then we're going to be in the new year. New shows coming. Very excited for some of those shows. Very excited, and just give all that a listen. All right, we are back, and apparently it's no surprise to anybody, but Robert's still watching anime. Apparently, that's something that still goes on.
Yeah. I need to clear out some of my backlog, but I'm gonna talk about a non-anime show first.
Okay.
I recently watched Black Doves.
Okay,
on
that's
Netflix.
On my list. I have that.
Very good show.
Okay.
Very good show.
It looked good.
Keira Knightley.
You saw the Keira Knightley.
I would put it on like the Diplomat level.
Okay.
Kind of area, kind of zone.
A solid recommendation.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
It's got a 7.2 on IMDb. Keira Knightley plays a spy, a deep cover spy, but not for any country, for like a corporation.
Yeah.
But like corporate spies that have infiltrated like the high echelons of the British government and other governments around the world, and broker and information.
Yeah. Okay.
And assassinations.
Right.
And all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
She gets caught up in some shenanigans, lots of explosions, lots of really fun, interesting characters. Like this is a whole like world of assassins, kind of almost John Wick style, but a little more wacky, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very fun.
Interesting.
Super cool.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I'm still watching anime. I think I watched 3 series this week, but I don't want to talk about any of those. I want to just kind of clear out some backlog.
Okay.
And stuff. I'm gonna talk about a serious one that's really, really good. Has 2 seasons. Could end there. Could keep going. I don't think it's ever going to keep going because it's kind of been a while.
Right.
Called 86. And I was like, this is a kind of a stupid name for a show.
Okay.
What the 86 stands for is a group of mech pilots. Not like your standard mechs with like 2 legs and arms and stuff like that. They're kind of more like hovercraft kind of things. They have like, some of them have like 8 legs. Like, and act like spiders and stuff like that. And they are in an eternal battle with AI robots that are constantly attacking this walled city. And it is crazy. So, like, they're outside the wall. They're outside the city. But everybody thinks that they're robots and not real people.
86 guys are robots.
Yeah. All the like the general masses. But it focuses on them and their operator. that's like a lady in the military that's charged with commanding them.
So they don't go into the walled city ever?
No, I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
The lore goes deep.
Okay.
The lore goes deep because, like, the robot army they're fighting is from a war that happened hundreds of years ago, and the nation that created the army that's attacking them, long gone. So, like, it's just all automated.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so you have, like, this lady who's in the city. She's a member of the higher echelons. Weird thing, everybody in the city has white hair.
Okay.
All of the people that are outside, the 86 team, they all have colored hair. And there's a weird racism thing where, like, if you are born with colored hair, you have to go outside the city to fight these battles.
Kick you outside the city?
Yeah. And they never see each other. The controller and they just talk on the radio. And it's about them developing a relationship between their controller and them, and like uncovering like what's really going on under the surface. You get into weird stuff with what's going on with the attacking robot army and what's going on outside the walled city. It's really crazy and deep and really good.
Interesting.
And I think they could have really ended with the first season.
Yeah.
Second season still pretty good. Amazing soundtrack.
Nice.
Really, like, the soundtrack really hit me. That, like, this soundtrack and like the music they're doing is way too good for, you know, like what I expected. But yeah, just a fantastic show.
Okay, nice. Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it is definitely worth a watch. It's a little more of a serious one. Not gonna have your typical like anime boobies kind of stuff. This is a more serious anime. Yeah,
nice.
This is not the other thing. Another really serious one called To Your Eternity. This is an amazing one. This is a must watch.
Okay.
I cried every single episode.
Damn.
Not a single episode I did not cry.
Damn.
It is rough. And it is about a rock. So this god being creates a energy ball.
Right.
And drops it onto the planet. I don't know if it's Earth. Maybe it's Earth. And it turns in, it lands and bounces against a rock. Turns into the rock. Spends unknown amount of eons as a rock.
Okay.
A wolf stumbles by it. It's bleeding. It's dying. Bounces into the rock. The rock turns into the wolf.
Okay.
But it's still bleeding.
Okay.
But it doesn't die.
It doesn't die.
Or like it'll die and then it comes back to life.
Because it touched this rock.
Meets a little boy out in the middle of nowhere. The boy's all alone. They become friends. Boy dies. He turns into the boy.
So we go from rock to wolf to boy.
Basically, when something dies or is already dead, that it meets, becomes friends with, if it dies, the entity can turn into
can take over.
Yeah, and it just it goes in the show over hundreds of years of him existing, because he's basically an immortal that can shapeshift, and him like getting introduced to human society and making friends and all this stuff, and it's really amazing. It's really crazy. It's got like some deep, weird, mystical stuff going on with like the shadow entities that are like against the god being and all this stuff. It's really crazy. It's really, really, really good, and it's very sad. It is okay. It is a very serious show. Again, not gonna get a lot of anime boobies going on.
No anime boobies in this one, because we have a rock that turns into a wolf that turns into a boy.
Let's see, how much time do I have?
Hey, I mean, yeah, you have plenty.
Can I do some more?
You do some more.
Let's do a fun one. We'll end with a fun one. Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. You know it's going to be fun, and there's going to be anime boobies when it's got a long name.
Another World with My
Absurd Skill.
Absurd Skill.
Yeah, so this is a group isekai.
Okay.
The first two are not isekai.
Yeah, I got that.
And there's like a group of people. I wouldn't call them like high school students. They seem kind of older than that. They get teleported. They're like the people who summon them are like reviewing their skills, and there's like a bunch of them that have like awesome heroing skills and all this stuff. And then they get to him, and he has online marketplace is his skill.
Online marketplace.
Yep. And they're like, that's stupid. You're useless. Get out of our faces.
Right.
He has basically Amazon
as a
power. He can put money in, order products, and they appear before him.
I mean,
overpowered.
Yeah. It sounds a little bit like the vending machine.
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, I could see it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vending machine's a much better anime, I would say.
Okay.
Compared to this. But this is still really fun and really good. So he's just, he meets up with like a troupe of traveling merchants and stuff like that, and he becomes like their cook because he can order just awesome food online, like clean food. This is very kind of like pre-industrial society. So, like clean food is nice, and, they've never tasted anything like microwave dinners, and he can order a microwave.
Okay.
He can order a wok and a stove and a generator. Anything that you could get off Amazon, he can get if he has the coin.
Right.
Right. One day he's like cooking. He's alone. He's got his campfire going, and a like triple S tier god being wolf friendlier monster shows up, about to kill him, and he's like, "What you got cooking?" And he feeds him some of his awesome like Wagyu beef, and the wolf is just like, "Okay, we're gonna form a contract now. I'm gonna protect you, and you're gonna feed me all the time." And so he instantly just like has a god being as his protector. He learns magic, and he levels up a little bit and stuff there. But it's just kind of a fun anime of like kind of just wackiness. And what would you do if you were stuck in a pre-industrial society and you could just order anything off Amazon?
Yeah. No, you can get up to all sorts of hijinks.
Yeah, fun times.
Nice.
Tell me about the ink.
So, they released the day after Christmas. They released season 2 of Squid Game.
I've not watched it yet.
Yes.
Yes, no?
Oh, yes. 100%
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I was very disappointed with the ending of the first Squid Game. So the first part, they had me in the first half.
You're gonna be disappointed with the ending in this second season.
Okay.
But I'll get to why. No spoilers in this, or there might be some light spoilers, but nothing like main storyline. Because I watched all. That's why we're recording a little bit later today. Robert is like literally. I had one episode to go, and I'm like, I gotta bang this out. So I watched all of it. So I mean, the first thing is it's 7 episodes. When the first season I think was 9 or 10.
Okay.
So instantly I was a little nervous. I'm like, did they not? What I believe, and this is why I say I think they ran out of ink or didn't have enough ink, is this was one. And this is why you'll be disappointed with the season ending this time. This is very much they don't at any point, not even at the end, which is very frustrating. They don't at any point say this, but I very much feel like this is a split season. Okay. Because it's 7 episodes, and where it ends is in no way, shape, or form ending. You're just like, what? So very annoyed by that.
Any returning characters?
Yeah. We actually get quite a few. We get main guy's back. If you remember the cop who went on the island to find his brother.
Okay.
He's back. We get some lower characters who either have a bigger role or just show up because, like, if you remember in the first season at the beginning, the main character had his best friend, not the one who goes into the game with him, but just his best friend who was hanging out with gambling.
Yeah.
He's a main character this time. And then also, if you remember, there was a loan shark who was after him.
Yeah.
The loan shark and all his boys are main characters this time around.
Okay. So like, what's the concept? Is this like he's moved on to nationals, or is this he's run out of money and he's been given the offer to go into the game?
Neither.
Okay.
He wants to end the games.
Okay.
So he is trying to take down the games first from the outside, but eventually he's like, the only way to take them down is to get back inside. And so he finds a way to get back in.
Not worth. Not worth.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, when they find out he won one, like one is they jump to that because like, you really blew all that money already and stuff. Or also once they find out, like, no, it's like, really, you gave up a chance of being just rich. to come back here. But he's playing the hero. So one of the things I will say that for me, I mean, the show's still good, but one of the parts that's kind of a little jarring is if you remember from the first Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
It started out, especially before the first game, but even in the bit more earlier episodes after people were dying, it started out like a little bit more quirky and funny, and as it got on, it got more serious and more dark.
Yeah.
They try to do that again, where in the beginning it's a little bit more lighthearted, and towards the end it's dark. But the problem is we all still remember Squid Game season 1, so you can't go back to like, ha ha, we're having fun. So like in the beginning it's kind of light and quirky, and I'm just like, nah, man. I know what's going on here. I know about all the bodies and the organ harvesting and all that. So you can't go back to like in this kind of goofy over here. It's like another thing they did differently. This is a minor spoiler, but it's nothing major. Is if you remember in the first season, they were given a chance after the first game to vote, and if everybody wanted out, they'd end the game. In this season, at first, you don't think it would make
I thought it was that anybody who wanted to leave could leave.
No. It was everybody.
I remember
voted.
him leaving and then coming back in.
Well, that thing is, so in the first season,
because they voted,
if everybody voted, or if the majority voted, not everybody, but if the majority voted to leave, they'd stop the games, everybody could leave. But then they gave them the option that, hey, if you all show back up here in 2 days, we'll also continue the games. And so everyone does. Yeah. In this season, they change things up a little bit, and it actually makes things a lot different. You wouldn't think so. It's not just the first game. It's after every game you can vote.
It's like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire kind of situation.
Yeah, and also, if everyone votes to leave, you actually get to divide up the money that's been won already. So not only like in the first season, it was like, hey, if you all vote, you just go back to your sorry lives. But it actually changes things quite a bit. And then there's character because of that. Like I said, everybody votes after each one. It's a very
deal or no deal situation.
Yeah, everybody votes after each one, and because of that, it really makes you like in the first season. There were, of course, our main character, and then the other people around him. Like you started seeing like, oh, this person's kind of like I like this person because of this and that. This season really brings out the worst in except for a few characters. You're watching even some of the people who get on the good side. You're like. You're shaking. You're just like, yeah, you're a good person now, but we saw what you did. Like we saw, and you do it with full. Because that's the thing is they have full knowledge because since he's been through it, like when they do the first game and it's red light, green light, and he's just like, hey, they're gonna be killing us. Like they have full knowledge. It's a good season though, really good. It just feels like it's one of two things, and I really hope it's more of this first thing than the latter. It's either. They always plan for this to be a short season, and they're going to release, and that they're basically doing like other shows have done, where there's a break in between. Here's the first half, and then 3 months later, here's the rest. I really hope that's what it is. If this was always meant to be the second season, and they just wanted to like, or basically it also feels like they took the second season, realized that that's the end of Squid Game because I really don't see how you do more, and so instead of calling it after 2 seasons. They cut it in half on purpose. And they're going to wait instead of just waiting a few months because, like I said, they haven't announced this as a 2-part season. There's a part of me that's scared like, oh, we're going to wait a whole year to give you what essentially is the second part of season 2. And that's a little annoying because, like I said, it's 7 episodes. So right off the bat, I was like, this is less episodes of a popular show. That's weird. And as things start going and they start going through the games, you're watching those episodes tick away. Like the first 2, you don't get to the actual competition until the 3rd episode.
Interesting.
So it's just like, when there's only 7 episodes and you're not even to the Squid Games until the 3rd episode, you're like, something's going on here.
We're going to speed run it.
Yeah. But instead, it's just like, it very much feels like they took season 2 and cut it in half. And if that's what they did, disappointed in that. But overall, the season,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Good overall. Yeah. Overall, really good.
Speaking of other things that came out around Christmas, What If?
Yes.
Really, season 3.
Have not checked that out, but I'm going home to watch that.
It's not done yet, but so far, every episode except the last one. I didn't really like the Western episode.
Yeah,
but they're really, they were really bangers all around.
Nice,
and they're really shaping it up to be an interesting story about the Watcher and having it kind of all blend together into one thing. Better than season 2 for sure.
Nice.
Season 1 was obviously awesome. Season 2,
it's
completely forgettable for me.
And I loved season 1 the whole. Because you go into what if this thinking like, oh, this is like an anthology series and stuff, and then when it starts coming together, and you're like, oh wait, there's a bigger storyline going on. That was a pier de resistance in season 1.
Good times.
Got a little bit of news actually, MCU news here, Robert. It's a little something I found this week.
I just want to know when the Thunderbolts are coming out, so I can get my tickets.
It's coming out. We have the release date for that. They released that. I can't remember what it is, but I think it's next February.
Here, I'll look it up.
You look that up. Let's see here. So, we have what it's a supposedly
May 2nd. Thunderbolts.
Man, that's so
it's too far away.
That's too far away. But yeah, so we have a little bit of some Avengers news. They're talking about the new. So, like I said, there's going to be one day, and by the time this one day comes, they may not be the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
But one day there will be the Young Avengers. But they're talking about the next Avenger team that's going to be put together to handle the next Avengers stuff. And so you would think that's going to be who's still on. You got Hulk and Thor still there, Ant-Man, Wasp, and stuff. But rumors are the new Avengers lineup of like the main core. Like, of course, everybody's going to show up.
Let me get. Okay, so you're going to have the Hulk. I would say
that one is correct. Yes.
Okay, you're going to have Captain America, new Captain America.
No.
Oh,
not on the list. Like he's going to show up for the big events, but like just like there's the core Avengers, and then there's all the outliers, and then there's also the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they're going to do a similar thing. So there's going to be a core Avengers team, and you've gotten one person right, which is the Hulk.
I guess it wouldn't be Yolanda, the new Black Widow, because she would be in the Thunderbolts.
She's part of the Thunderbolts. She'll show up, but not a core Avenger.
Man, if the Winter Soldier, no, because he's in Thunderbolts too.
I'd be surprised if you can guess that. I'll tell you this: there's 4 people.
Only 4.
Just like the original. I guess the original ones were 6. I don't. I'm sorry. I will never count Hawkeye and Black Widow as actual villains because they're just not.
Okay, give it to me because I don't know.
Okay. So Shang-Chi.
Okay.
Actually, if you watch Shang-Chi, you can know who all 4 of them are, because at the end is when you get to see the team.
Okay, so Wong.
Yes, Wong is gonna be.
Okay, but I guess Doctor Strange is off doing some Doctor Strange stuff. And then
we're gonna talk about Doctor Strange. So
Captain Marvel.
There's talk of the main core 4 is supposed to be Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel, Hulk, and Wong. Okay. There's talk of Awkwafina's
as long as we
character.
get some Madison.
Well, hold up. We're going to talk about that. So there's talk of Awkwafina's character being along for the ride, which is more frustrating than Black Widow and Hawkeye. And then there's also talk of Captain Marvel having Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau with her. But here's the other exciting news. So Wong is kind of going to be like the head of it. He's going to be one who pulls everybody together. And so because of that, Wong is supposedly getting a little bit of a bigger role in the MCU. I mean, he's been around for a while. Everyone loves him. But there is in the works, supposed to be coming out next year. And it would make you think it's about Doctor Strange. It's called Strange Academy. But there's a show coming out next year called Strange Academy that's supposed to be about the Sorcerer Supreme, which is not Strange, it's Wong, training up new wizards. And they even say the show is supposedly to give Wong a bigger presence in the MCU. And I'm just like, if you're giving me a Wong show and Wong's going to be the main dude in it, Madison better show up.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if Wong gets his own show, Wong needs his sidekick.
Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to.
Who are the best sidekicks after Madison?
Okay, Madison's good. I mean, who are we calling sidekicks? Are we just talking
non-powered
individuals? Okay.
So
so we had
Miss Marvel has her her friend,
the tech guy.
Yep.
Spider-Man has his tech guy.
Yeah.
They both have theirs. I mean, Thor had, until he became Thor, had Keira Knightley's character. Jane, and then Jane had
That's
her
not Keira
sidekick.
Knightley, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that was Natalie Portman. I get it mixed up.
Sure.
But anyways, and then Jane had her sidekick.
You know, okay, can we sidebar on that? Everyone says that Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman look the same.
They look alike.
I do not see it.
Well, you know that, I forget which one was. One of them was the stunt double for the other. And which one was, Natalie Portman was in Star Wars, right? Yes. And so Keira Knightley.
She wasn't the stunt double. She was one of the lookalikes.
Yes, she was one of the lookalikes.
In the first of the original trilogy. Not the original, but the prequel trilogy.
They look alike. I won't say they like that. I'm never say they look exactly alike.
People act like they're indistinguishable, and I'm like, no way.
The only one I have about is freaking Tom Hardy, and then I can't remember the other dude's name, but they almost look like insanely alike. Yeah. Anyways, and they were born in the same year, and I'm just like, But anyways, but one's American, the other one's British, so they can't be related.
So we're supposed to get Avengers Doomsday in 2026. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's our lineup, and like I said, we get some exciting Wong news because I would like some more Wong, and I just feel like if you do a series with Wong, if Madison doesn't, I mean, I would like her to be like actually in it, but if Madison doesn't at least show up in at least one episode where Wong's hanging out with her, they've done a grave disservice in the MCU.
Yeah,
like they introduced Madison the character, and it's just like, no, she needs to be around. Wong needs to have his bestie. Like, he just needs to. I want to know that Wong and Madison have been hanging out since we last saw them. I want him to be going over regularly for, a night to watch some chick flicks and, do the thing. Like, I need that.
They don't have to watch chick flicks.
Not all the time.
They bonded over The Sopranos. Okay?
True,
they could be watching Breaking Bad or something.
Yeah, maybe some Breaking Bad. Just, I want Wong and Madison to have a regular, like, every day. Like, even if she doesn't show up, I want Wong, if this Strange Academy is about him training soldiers, I want every Thursday night for them to be like, where does Wong go every Thursday night? And stuff. They think he's out on some mission or doing some Sorcerer Supreme stuff, and Wong's like, nah, I gotta
he's having some vodka tonics with his girl Madison.
He got to go catch his shows. What you talking about?
Well, that's the show, everybody. Check out our website, watchinpod.com. Email us if you'd like, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our holiday special and pre-holiday special. We got our best of coming up pretty soon. Then shortly after that, we'll have some Oscar action going on.
Oh, yeah.
Not looking forward to it. Man, I'm like, the movies were kind of slim this year for me. And I'm like, oh, God, what kind of stuff what kind of slow, meandering, horrible things am I going to have to watch for the Oscars?
I mean, the one thing... and
I shouldn't say horrible in that they're not bad.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously Oscar movies. But horrible.
I mean, hold up. Some of them are.
Okay, that's true.
Because what was that? What was I can't remember. Mank. Yeah, but what's the other one? The one that won the something pizza or
no. The one about the deaf people.
Yeah, that one. Which sounds bad when you say it's about the deaf people, but it was just because they're deaf doesn't mean it's a good movie. But anyways, yeah. So sometimes they're bad movies, but also almost all of them, like I said, I always when we're watching the Oscars, I always check and see what my godsend one, which is the one that is just 2 hours long. Like, oh, goodness. But so I did this last year because I don't have to take intense notes. So what I did last year, and I'm already getting in good shape. I'm just gonna do it again. Is I got my exercise bike, man. I was just put on the movie, hop on that exercise bike, and just do my thing. And so maybe I'll like do a bike-athlon after the Oscars or something. Yeah, we got that coming up. We got lots of good shows. We got more Silo. Like we just said, it's ramping up. Things really intense episode this week, and there's only going to be more. So we got more Silo, more great shows coming. Give us any rated reviews, 5 stars. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.